that we would like to add to this is do some research with community members like the elderly. They all these different spaces have stories about them. And so we can collect that information and tell the stories of certain points, like the Crown Point. What does that mean? And where is it at? And from what location can you see this area? So this is just a beginning of what is to come. And I'm so excited. I do walk TP Trail a lot. It's my space to be in. And even identifying meditative spaces to clear our heads for our students, for ourselves, for the healthcare staff. It's just a wonderful place to do that. So yes, exactly. So if you want, let us get this off the ground with our students, our undergrad students. And so we are always willing to help you with your space to make that network with one another. We're sister schools and we share a lot of students. So most definitely.
And Sharon, we're talking about scale and like, are you going to just do one section? You know, that could be something when you go out and take your walk. You know, does it take a whole big area like this much to collect as many things to point out? If you're doing dyes or if you're doing medicinal, or, you know, would it be best to, you know, stretch over here on TP where it's a little bit more stretched out? So, you know, those types of things that as you have those discussions with your students and as you go out and identify certain areas, I think would be key. And then that would determine kind of the area we would be focusing on, especially if we're going to, you know, this is where the rug auction takes place. How can we link them from the rug auction to that section you identify on TP or right here between us and Dene College, where they could do a little, you know, they're there at 4 getting their Navajo taco, but they're not going to be bidding on their rug until 7. So maybe they want to go on a nice little walk and then see more. So like, how do we draw those connections as well? So cool. Well, I appreciate it, Sharon. Thanks for joining us. And like I said, any way you want to be involved, let's just keep the communication open.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Last visitor we have is from Continental Divide Trail Coalition. Want to go ahead and introduce yourself and what kind of links we can make? Andrea, I think you're on mute.
Oh, what about now? Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks for having me today. This is a really great group and I'm so grateful to be connected with you all. My name is Andrea Kurth and I manage the Gateway Community Program for the Continental Divide Trail Coalition. So we help the Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management and National Park Service and other land managers maintain, manage, and protect the 3,000 mile long Continental Divide Trail that goes from the Boot Heel in New Mexico all the way up to the border with Montana and Canada. So we do a lot of things, trail maintenance, advocacy. I specifically work with gateway communities, so connecting communities along the trail to the trail and helping promote all of the wonderful health benefits and mental benefits and physical benefits that you all were just talking about with Sharon's project. And I think that's a really beautiful and exciting project. So we have, I'll just be honest, we've been struggling really with connecting with our Native communities along the trail, and it's something that we are trying to get better at and really think about how can we kind of share knowledge and share the space because it is public lands and it's for everybody. So we've been thinking about how to connect specifically to Native youth in New Mexico for now, and create some projects that are really meaningful for youth, connecting to the CDT and kind of just exploring those different cultural connections that are there. So I reached out to Daniel because he came to our Gateway Community Summit last fall, because we have this idea of working with youth to create something that they can learn job skills on, take back to their community and serve their community with. And one of the ideas that we had was to create or to have students or youth actually create a podcast series about the CDT in New Mexico and how they connect to it culturally, physically, emotionally. But that's just one idea that our staff had, and just wanted to throw it out there and present to this group and see if that sounds like something that would be of service to your community and that would resonate with your students, and then kind of moving forward from there. But I think we're really open to any projects that we can do with students on the CDT, and would be able to support there with staff time and helping just provide our expertise about the trail and the landscape and conservation, and then hopefully being able to learn a lot about you all's expertise and the students' expertise on these lands.
Thank you, Andrea. And you know, so that might be a good way to link in, you know, Sharon, as we talk about projects or how do we layer our different initiatives. That could be a whole focus on when you're graduate students or a baccalaureate student, or if it's a student who's in early childhood multicultural education and wants to do a project on Dene studies, but then working with the youth, you know, so somewhere like that. Or we also have Caitlin, who's a volunteer with the radio station we have here in town. She's a student at NTU, but then also a community member. Maybe she could somehow find a way to link that into her program or what she's doing to, you know, carry those types of projects forward. So does anyone have any questions for Andrea?
So Daniel, this is Sheldon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is Sheldon Benali. I also work at the University of New Mexico Prevention Research Center, and I work along with Latasha and our team of about 6 people. And I just wanted to, well, first of all, Andrea reached out to me as well from the Continental Divide Coalition. So we're working with 9 different communities in the Eastern Agency of Navajo Nation to help assist with technical assistance with building some trails. We do have a 5-year grant from the CDC. And I'm just thinking that some of the communities that we're working with are also very near the Continental Divide. 2 communities that I can think of offhand are the Counselor Chapter House, as well as Torreon Chapter House. So I think those 2 areas, I do know that with the Counselor Chapter House, the Chapter House officials have become really, I guess, in tune, and they're more responsive to emails now, and they're more tech savvy. So the president for that chapter is actually a younger person. So he's been really good and really responsive. So I think if we reach out to him, he could probably try to get as many involved in the counselor community. I do know that Latasha is working closely with Torreon, but they're really close to the Continental Divide, and I was just kind of thinking about those 2 areas because Counselor is only about maybe 10 to 15 miles away from the Continental Divide, so that was something that I was thinking of right now. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that, Sheldon. And I think we're really starting to change our thinking from the Continental Divide Trail as a trail and thinking more about it as a landscape that people inhabit, and trying to tell those stories more so than just like, this is a trail that people hike on, because as everybody on this call knows, it's so much more than that. So yeah, we're just humbly offering the CDT and CDTC as a partner to hopefully help students and young people explore outdoor careers and what can that mean. And it doesn't necessarily always have to be about building a trail or conservation. It can be about storytelling and or so many other things. So just want to provide that opportunity and make those connections.
Yeah, and Sheldon, I think that's a good way too to think about just again how we're developing this trail, not just for the here and now, but if we're tapping into resources like the Continental Divide Coalition, and we're talking about extending our resources and how do we connect ourselves to also, you know, Little Water or going over the hill off of TP to Mariano Lake. You know, how do we even connect ourselves from one community to the next and then tap into that? You know, and I think that's very key because it really, you know, it broadens kind of what our long-term impact was. And I know that's something that we heard when we hosted the community focus group session at the chapter house. Was one of the attendees. She said that, you know, how could we tap ourselves into Vicente? You know, maybe we do a biking trail that goes up there. And so if, you know, from the onset, we think about how can we tell these shared stories around those connections, you know, that would be a good way moving forward and something we could put into our work plan.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to add, if Sheldon, I think you have my email address. If you want to send me those 2 other emails that you mentioned, then I can reach out. And sorry, Felicia.
That's okay. I have a question for you, Andrea. With your trails, do you guys do any presentations about survival skills while on the trails, or like any presentations about that? Because we're going to be getting our summer youth funding for the chapter, and I believe we're going to be hiring again for summer youth. And what I want to do is I want to mention the trails, and I think we're going to hire or look for presenters. And one of them is I want to mention the trails, and also like survival skills on the trails, like what you need to know before going on the trails. I know some of them are short trails, but like the ones that if you're going to hike the TP trails, like, you know, take plenty of water, you know, things that you'll need in case, you know, something should happen, you know, let people know that you're going on the trail beforehand, just like little things like that. I wanted to know if you guys do any presentations like that.
Yeah, so we haven't, I mean, yes and no. I think a lot of the folks who have been interested in the CDT before recently have been all through hikers. So they're trying to hike from border to border, and that's quite a bit different, I think, needs that you need for that compared to just doing a day hike. But we're really trying to provide more resources about yeah, just like the 10 essentials of hiking and how to visit the CDT safely, as well as leave no trace information. So I think we could definitely collaborate on something like that and put something together with some of the resources that we already have.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
And it might be possible, Felicia, is, you know, that it seems like that work summer youth employment is going to be really crucial to a lot of our initiatives, especially as we talk about our first development with one of our next agenda items with the ODY trail, is how can we start getting these students to start planning in different ways. Maybe one does the storytelling with Andrea and Sharon, and other ones just do the trail development based on the recommendations you do. Maybe it's towards signage. So I think that's could be a creative way of how we work with that summer youth employment, is, you know, having direct projects that they could work on. So they're always active in improving this, and, you know, they could help support, you know, our support, like Sharon, if she needed extra help with people going out there and documenting them or drawing them, or however, you know, she incorporates a project into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. And I see Andrea did put her email into the chat. So,
oh yeah.
and then Felicia did send out Marcella's email as, or her contact. I have her contact, so I'll put it into our shared group on contacts.
Okay.
She's a good person to collaborate with as well. So anything else?
Just to mention that the summer youth program did, I think, receive $4 million for 110 chapters. I think the funding is going to be there. Some of the training or educational part of hiking, I think is very crucial, especially today, as you know, self-awareness when you're hiking, using all your 5 senses. In Daniel's case, 6 sense. But you know, you need to really be aware, especially up in these mesas, because you often see cougar tracks, bear tracks. Also, self-preservation. Self-preservation is also important because, you know, like Daniel, you can teach them how to fend off Bigfoot and, you know, looking out for signs of skinwalkers and stuff like that.
I knew you're crazy. All you need is a Slim Jim to fend them off. But I think it'd be good to start planning with that, and you know, how can we maximize it, especially if they have the funding, and then you know, branch out as many ways as we can. You know, I think that if the youth, as we've been saying, if their youth are involved, they're more likely to take care of it, and that's kind of what we want to build long term. So
how sorry,
oh, go ahead.
I'm interrupting.
No, you're fine.
How old are usually the summer students? Like, how old do they start? Or I always like, are they like 16, 17-year-olds or 18?
It's 14 to, well, for the Crown Point, it's the age limit's 14 to 21.
Oh, okay. I see. So like at the age of 14, they're eligible to work like for a whole month or something. Is that right? During the summer?
Okay. It's for however much funding you have. So for the
Yeah.
chapter here, we hire them for 2 weeks, and we hire
Oh,
up
okay.
to like 60 students, and they have to be actively in school.
Okay. Got it.
But this year, I don't know how we're gonna, if they reopen, we have to go over a safety protocol plan. So I think we're gonna hire like maybe 6 students at a time, and then do a lot of presentations.
Yeah.
So this year is going to be a little different. And last year we didn't get to hire any students, and this year it's going to be different. So it's going to be something new. So that's why I was
Wow.
looking, I'm trying to get a hold of some presenters right now. And one of the main focus was to mention the trails and offer the trails and provide some type of presentation. And one of them was that survival, the survival trails, I guess. I don't know what the proper name would be.
Okay. Thank you.
One thing I think is important, and you know, as we get different partners and projects proposed, say we were to do the storytelling project with Continental Divide Trail on the region, but we do it towards like TikTok, or how an Instagram story is created, where they kind of guide you through one image at a time, where it's like, here's the 10 things you need to know about traveling this trail. Step 1, tie your boot. Step 2, pack. You know, they cut up to these videos that speak to certain things, but if we're able to figure out how to do that, if we're going to tell narratives about the land or history through CDTC, how can we then apply that and then have kind of like some type of process for doing information videos for the summer work? You know, so hopefully, you know, as a committee, that's how I think we should start thinking about a lot of these tie-ins, is, you know, using a lot of the resources we get and then amplifying it in different ways. So I'm not sure, Andrea, if we could have another meeting sometime, or if you want to participate, like however much you want, you know, send us a follow-up email, and, you know, of what was discussed today, maybe there's some things that got introduced that, you know, caught your ear, And then we can kind of go from there. I think would probably be the best way, if that's cool with everybody else in the committee.
Yeah, that's great with me. And I'm really, like I said, we're really open to hearing new ideas like what you just said. If a podcast or radio show doesn't seem like the best way to engage folks, then we can think of other ways. But just really wanted to bring that to the space and just say this is what we're thinking about and have you all react to it. And I would be happy to join another meeting if we want to go more in depth about ideas, but just super grateful to be on here and thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And like I said, you know, it could be flexible if we wanted to flesh this out as much as possible and use it for work, summer work. Felicia, it could be a project that they do maybe summer and beyond where it's podcast and they go in and do something with Caitlin from our committee on the radio, but then also just don't do the podcast, document it and do social media at the same time. Maybe it's multi-layered. I know in today's communication, it's not just one form that you need to have. It has to hit people from all directions, radio, internet, social media, friends telling you. So you know, however broad you want to go, I think we're interested as a group too, especially if we could tie it in with that summer work program. And then we don't have it on ABY right now, but we do have some members from that organization. Oh yeah, we do. I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and.
Hi, my name is Kristen Pablo with Office of Diné Youth. I'm the program project specialist. Jimmy's on another call right now. So we have an after school program. It is very virtual right now. And it'll probably continue that way for another couple of months is what we're thinking. But I'm just enjoying your conversation on digital storytelling, physical fitness, stuff like that, because a lot of our ideas are based within the community for our youth in that way. So, hi everybody.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for joining us, Kristen. We had Jimmy and then Virginia join us the past two meetings, so it's nice that you're here too. I think the point of this is just to make connections and have everyone work towards the same goal. So thanks for joining, and you know, Andrea, keep that in mind. Committee, keep that in mind. We all know each other now, so don't be shy to reach out to one another. So anything else? Well, we only have 15 minutes left. Did you have something else, Kristen?
Yeah, our target age group is 6 to about 14 to 15. 15 is our oldest that we have right now, but that's our target age group for the after school and the summer program. Last year we didn't have a summer program, but this year we're planning to come back full force with a limited amount of students. But I just wanted to let you know that Jimmy is actually working with a group of students for the teens, which is 14 and up. And then we are reestablishing our youth council, which would really play a big part in their input in the trails. So we did have a youth council about, I would say like 5 years ago. All our kids have grown up, so we're gonna start brand new with the ones who have grown through our program, and we're gonna reestablish that this coming year. So if you need a group of students to teach, you know, anything with, we're more than welcome to have you as a presenter as well. So thank you.
We do have some educational programs. So Kristen, can you just put your email in the chat and then we'll reach out with some of our materials.
Yeah, and even if you could get somebody on our committee, you know, we want youth representation, and they probably see this so 180 degrees separate from how we're seeing it too. So if we could have that representation once you have your council, if they want to be on this, you know, by all means, we want that voice. It's important. Okay, she did put her contact in there as well, and then I'll share her contact list as well with everybody. If there's nothing else,
Just one thing.
yes, Leonard.
We're all talking about cultural and storytelling. I think one of the items that we need to really enforce or stress is educational in the historical part. We know that Crumpler has a history. Every community has a history, and maybe bring some of that up. And also, you know, what I was with that video you showed earlier. You know, what's the function of the Crumpler chapter? You know, what's Club C? What does the land board do? What's Title 3, Title 26? How did they come into play? Those kind of things. Because from what I've seen in the video, I mean, if your students can identify some of the chapters, you know, something's wrong here. But anyway, maybe that can be part of it.
Yeah, we'll get you access to our TikTok page, and you can help us create those videos, Leonard.
Also, I want to advertise on my Facebook page. I'll be doing a lot more videos, so stay tuned.
Okay, nice. And if you could tap us into that for our page as well, that would be good. Okay, well, thank you guys. We don't want to keep you if you guys have to go anywhere. We're going to just, you know, we only have 10 minutes left, so we'll get as far as we can. But I think we should be able to get up to the ODY trail at least. This is just a reminder to the group that we do have a working Google document. As we're chipping away at our work plan, let me pull it up really quick. Let's see. Just to remind you guys of what we have, you know, we got our community trail shared document, and within there we have our trail plan outline. And then you'd be able to look up what Attila shared on the different health profiles he had recommended. I included our actual outline right here, which includes how we're going to start laying it out and detailing it. And then we already did have some people start to chip away at it. I think we have about 10 pages, which is pretty good. But it's just talking about the summary of what we're doing. Again, here's the goals. Goals dealing with active transportation, goals dealing with better community health. So if you guys, you know, whenever you have a chance, start going in there and then maybe start chipping away with anything that you have. Or I just kind of wrote a lot of this stuff too over the past 2 days, just when I had some free time. So there's probably a lot of spelling errors, or I don't make sense when I'm talking about stuff. But, you know, build off it any way you would like, you know, kind of use this as a shared document. You know, Sheldon was talking about having his big document with health, you know, craft it how you best see fit. But at least the flow of the document should be there. But just remember this as your community resource. I sent this out to the committee as well. So whenever you have a time, review it. Also put in, you know, the supporting documents for that, our final plan, which included things like the focus group report I had sent out. You guys have time to go back and review this, and you want to hear about when we were doing our outreach, about what the community was saying about specific things. It talks about a whole process of outreach, you know, the questions we asked, and then kind of what resulted from that, you know, how our trails being used. Here's somebody who talks about living in BIA housing, that talks about needing to stay healthy. You know, you could pull stuff from these documents and then put it into our final plan as well. But what we're going to be aiming for in completing that is by the end of the month. So March 29th, we want to have all of the maps we've been creating, the mock-ups, the suggestions, the recommendations into that document. Because on the 29th of April is one of our first big grants that's going to be coming up, and we want to apply for that. But just for the group, keep that in mind. You know, it has a lot of good information. This came from all of the groups we talked to. So you'll see some quotes from elders, some from, you know, whoever, you know, students, and then you could, you know, populate that. But I'd like to us all kind of just chip away at it as much as we can. Some talks about land status. Leonard, I know that you're pro with all of that. Talk about the issues, opportunities. Here's where we're going to just plug and play a lot of the stuff we did with each individual trail. Another good one, you know, here we talk about signage and stories, Leonard. If you want to talk about those specific informational locations, you know, you can start putting that into play as well. This is the general outline. When you guys get time, you can knock that away. You know, that's where we put in stuff like the transportation document, where if we're going to be talking about walkability and sorry, I got poor internet as well. You know, this was a professional project that was done by the first person who started this. They talk about bicycles and pedestrian plans and having different outcomes. If we're going to be doing, you know, road remediation with Navajo Nation Department of Transportation, she had done little mock-ups of how you divide that down here. You know, here's that main road on Crown Point. What if we added a pedestrian path and narrowed the roads? You know, these road diets is what she had called it, having space for bicycling. So all of these documents are in that, so feel free to use that as a resource. Everyone in the committee has it. So we talk about funding opportunities as well. We have the document in here.
Dan, I have a question.
Yes.
Is it possible, or I don't know if Representative Wanda Johnson got a copy of that? She's the one that's gonna work on the funding for the trails.
No, she hasn't.
For the capital outlay.
Uh-huh.
So I think it would be nice if she got a copy of this, so that way she approves the funding that we requested for.
Okay.
It was $10,000.
That one was just the mapping, and we had sent that to the representative who I was talking to, so she should have it. I'll do follow up.
Okay. Okay.
Daniel,
Yes.
this is Latasha. I was trying to edit some of that stuff like the other day, and I wasn't allowed to make any edits. Like I could view the entire document, like our Word document, but it wouldn't let me edit or anything. So I don't know if you should maybe change that where everyone could edit, but I have some things to add to that, but I just haven't had a chance yet to, well, I do have a chance, but it won't let me.
Okay, I think I might have blocked you guys probably when I sent out that invitation to either viewing or suggestion. Probably not even.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I'll
just viewing.
send it back out.
Okay.
Cool, thanks for letting me know. Okay, that was the reminder for that. We only have 5 minutes, but I'd like to at least introduce it because I know Leonard was introduced about this last time, was interested about it last time with Jimmy, was he wanted to see the land track. And for everyone on the call, you know, our strategy is we're going to try to help out with ODY because they actually have the land ownership. They're not going to have to work through all the loopholes and everything we're going to have to do with the other pieces of land and where we're trying to develop. But also, you know, it's a good gateway towards connector towards what we're trying to do on West Mesa. So, you know, this was what Jimmy had shared with me, Leonard. Let me pull up this thing. Yeah, the land track. And I'm not sure, Kristen, if you could talk about it or if you knew what he was going to talk about, but this is kind of the area he was discussing of where they have it. This is the main road, I think, that crosses over. So when they're talking about having the firehouse, you know, that's this area right here, I believe, but I'm not sure.
That one is actually across the fire station. It's a narrow where the courts are right now into that diagonal that goes down towards Shundeen Housing. So right before you hit the bottom of the hill, that's where the land track ends. So, and then it comes all the way back up to right where the new building behind us is. That's where our land track ends. So in that whole general area, that's, you know, right now they're developing the phase 2 part of our building. Phase 1 was the parking lot. And then we have been in talks of renovating the courts as far as upgrading and skate park and so forth. So that once the building starts going up, then that will be the next step to revitalize the courts again. But we were in planning stages of a trail already, but we do want to collaborate on, you know, devising a trail that the whole community can use. So that was as far information as I knew. But let's see, that partial A, that's where our actual building is. And then the new one's going up, yeah, right there. And then the road, and then partial B is the baseball field, the courts, and then there's another road a little bit, go down a little bit, right in, go up a little bit. Right there's the road towards the mesas. And then the rest is like down the hill of towards Shundeen. So it kind of just narrows off. I know there's Frontier line right there in that area, a box there. So other than that, we just try to, you know, with before it used to be really bad, that back area of walking, people were dumping trash and stuff. So every time we see somebody parked there, we're like, don't dump your trash and stuff. But we do want to collaborate. I know that. And we do want to use our youth group with that, our teen program. So having their input in what, you know, how it's going to be developed.
Okay. Leonard, did you have any questions? I know that one of the things we wanted to do was do a site visit with Jimmy, possibly, you know, socially distance, and talk about, you know, your land track, and then get a better understanding of everything. Because like I said, this might be the best way to start it, of what we're trying to do. And then maybe we could even tie in some type of remediation workshop with Attila, where he talks about the very basic things we could start on. But if we could plan towards this, I think it'd be great. Sorry, Leonard, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we need to collaborate on it. Any kind of activities pertaining to development must be shared, because any kind of project usually has an impact on any other projects. So we need to collaborate this, and we try to stress smart growth, so we coordinate all these projects. If there's any activities that's going to be like maybe adding on some land, adding on to the land track, or putting in new projects, you know, I don't know if you know, but there's plans to do an administrative complex on the north side of the partial A, and then we're going to take down the old police station right across the street, and there's some plans for that. So there's that place is going to be a, you know, busy site, so we need to coordinate in that area in a more wisely way. I know that road that goes to the high school, the mid school, there was concerns about it being too narrow. So we need to work with BIA, because that's BIA road. So those kind of things, we need to really share our plans so we can coordinate better.
So I just talked to, or yelled to Jimmy, but the meeting for next week is still a go. So he is expecting everybody then.
Okay, that's where we're gonna go visit him and then walk the area on Thursday at 3. Okay, cool, thank you. Next Thursday at 3 p.m. is when we're gonna be visiting this. If you guys can make it, we want to try to keep our numbers down, so I'll try to do the video stream like we did last time. So if anything, then we'll have it that way. But we're planning on that being next Thursday at 3 p.m., which would be the 11th. So thank you for confirming that. We're out of time, but I just want to mention that after next Thursday, we want to have our stakeholder meeting on the 18th. And this is where we're going to invite risk management, the Office of Navajo Nation Vice President, and then the chapter, and then the A are Lester and Daniel Largo. So I'm going to create a memo and an invite. Leonard, would it be okay if you emailed that out to them since you're more of an authority figure than me?
Yeah, just give me the information. I'll send it out.
But we want to have that on the 18th at 3 p.m. where we have these initial conversations, Kristen. So if you're going to be doing the skate park, we want to say, how do we get around liability? Because I know Jimmy said that was a problem in the past. So whether it's signage or what kind of workaround can we do? I think this is going to be the first planning meeting where we start chipping away at those. And then so we have something where we're all on the same page. So mark that down, everyone, on the 18th. Other than that, I was going to talk about some funding opportunities, but they're in the Dropbox folder. The first big one that we're going to be going after is this $350,000 rural health and safety education grant through the Department of Ag. And that's going to be on the 29th. And I think that's going to be around storytelling and youth engagement as well. So that might be something that can help fund a lot of our projects or complement summer youth employment. So I apologize, we're 5 minutes over. Does anybody have anything else to say? All right, cool. Well, then want to thank everybody for joining. We're going to be doing our site visit next Thursday at 3 p.m. For sure, me, for sure. I know Leonard will be there. Jimmy, if we could have maybe 2 more people, or, you know, Lieutenant, if you want to join with somebody from your crew and you want to start on this track, you know, that might be a good start. But, you know, we'll plan around that. So again, next Thursday at 3 p.m., I'll send a Zoom invite. So if you want to join us digitally, that'll be fine as well. So cool. Thank you guys for joining. Hope everyone's healthy and, you know, you're staying safe. It's nice to see everyone. Later.
Thanks, guys.